Hello all, my name is Prabhakar. I'm making a series of videos available to you to learn Amazon Web Services. And in this session, I'm going to talk about Amazon Web Services auto scaling. Here is our content for today's session, auto scaling and the lab. So I will explain how to set up and configure auto scaling for EC2 instance, and we will see the demo part. First of all, what is auto scaling? This auto scaling which continuously monitor your application and automatically adjust the capacity to maintain the steady and the predictable and performance at the lowest possible cost. Whenever your instance is down or whenever your instance get more load, then AWS Auto Scaling, which will automatically launch additional EC2 instance in order to share the load between different instances. So if the load is idle, we don't have any load, then it will automatically delete additional EC2 instance. So it will maintain, it will add more EC2 instance if the load is very peak, and if we don't have any load for in our application, it will automatically reduce and delete the EC2 instance. We will see more pointers, more configurations while working on the lab part. Let's go ahead and then see that how we can configure the auto scaling in EC2 instance. So before configuring auto scaling, so in services, we will follow these are the steps in order to create EC2 instance services and go to EC2 instance. Here we can configure and we can choose the multiple options for launching the EC2 instance. So like I can select the image, and I can configure the type of the image and configure the instance and adding the storage tags and security groups and all. So in my section, okay, so I already created an image. Okay, so this is a Prabhakar Nginx image, and I have installed Nginx on that, and with the default configuration which will run into the port 80. So this is the image which I'm going to use it here. So here, as a prerequisite, I'm not going to create any EC2 instance starting in the first stage. So, and I'm going to create a launch configuration here. So for that, go to services, and inside the services, so you can find at the bottom, okay, there is a section called auto scaling. And in this section, there is an option called launch configuration. This launch configuration is in an instance configuration template, and usually it is a template for the auto scaling group, which actually uses to launch the EC2 instance. So here we will configure that, okay, how many desired instance I want, and how many minimum and maximum instance I want, and which kind of image I want to launch it. So all the options I can configure in a launch configuration. So launch configuration is a mandatory. So before launching the auto scaling group. So let's see that how to create a launch configuration here. You can click on the launch, create launch configuration. So the options which exactly look same as EC2 instance. So here I'm selecting the option is my AMI, and I'm selecting this option and select the type of the instance. And here I can specify like here is a demo, the launch configuration. Okay, and here there is another option called a request spot instance, but please bear with me. So when you choose this option, this may add additional cost to you, and so please read the carefully, okay, how many instances and what kind of instances AWS charge more and less. Then accordingly go ahead and then choose the type of the instance. And I'm not choosing any additional rules here, and I'm not actually enabling any cloud watch for monitoring the logs. And in advanced option, I'm not choosing any kernel and then disk IDs here. So this user ID is nothing but at the time of launching the instance, if I want to run any kind of shell script or any commands, I can specify those commands here. For example, if I want to launch NALS, or if I want to restart Nginx, okay, I can use the command something like service Nginx and restart. Okay, this kind of commands I can specify in the user data, and at the time of launching the instance, these commands will be executed. So I'm leaving it as it is, and go to next, add a storage. By default, I'm selecting as the 8 GB of storage, and go ahead and create a security group. And inside a security group, I already created a security group which is open for port 8080. 8000 is usually not required. We need a port 80. So in order to serve the Nginx application. So, and go here and then review the changes and create launch configuration here. And I'm selecting the key pair, which I already created here in my previous video. So for more details about how to create EC2 instance, you can watch my previous videos. I have specified link in description below. And now launch configuration is successfully created. And then now it's a time to create an auto scaling group, which can use this launch configuration. So you can click on this button here. Okay, create a auto scaling group. And here I'm using a group name as demo auto scaling. Okay, and so at what instance you want to start with? Okay, I want to start with instance 1. Okay, this is the network I want to use it. And coming to the subnet part, I can create a new subnet. All I can choose the subnets available here. Okay, so here I'm selecting the multiple subnets here. So it means that, okay, these instances are available across all these sub instances, subnets. And coming to the advanced advanced details, so health check grace period is that, okay, so it will check every 300 seconds, it will check the health. So for the demo purpose, I'm making it as a 15. So every 15 seconds, it will check the EC2 instance grace period health check. And if the instance is not available, then automatically it will launch the new instance here. So, and next go to configure policies. And here, so I'm creating the policy here. In that, so I'm specifying that, okay, I want to scale between, if I say 1 and 1, if I say next, okay, here yeah, it will give an error. So I need to use the some additional instances here. I'm selecting the instance range between 2 to 4. Okay, so and the group size and average CPU utilization. Based on the CPU utilization, I want to launch the instance. And the target value, and I'm specifying it as a 1 here for the timing. And instances are needed, and the warm-up period is very important here. So once the instance is ready and then it is processing something, or maybe if we want to process something on the auto scaling, okay, we need to put that instance into the warm up so that it will be available till that time for processing the task. And by that time, if there is no operations are available for that instance and CPU utilization is very low, then automatically this instance will be deleted. So here instances are needed, and I can specify it as a 2 here. And go here and the next configure the notification here. And here if you see that, okay, minimum group size must not be greater than the starting number of instances. Okay, starting number of instances, I have specified it as 1, so I can specify it as 1 here also. Go here. And the notification, I don't require to configure any notification here. So if I want to configure any notification here, I can configure it. So whenever new instance is launched in order to serve the auto scaling purpose, so it will send the notification. I can remove the notification, it is optional, and go to the configure the tag, it is also optional, and review the settings and click on auto scaling group here. So, and now close this window. If you see that here, number of instances are 1 and desired are 1. So, and here if you click on the instances section, so here you can find that, okay, one more instance which is actually starting it here. I can go here on the EC2 instance and I'm opening it on the new tab. Okay, check that. So here the instance is which is starting and which is running here. So you can see that here the instance is started. And if I go here and then if I copy the public DNS entry here and put it and then check that. So here my Nginx server also running because I have configured my auto scaling by using the image which I have configured with Nginx. That's why it is serving a default landing page on the 80 port. Let's see that, okay, by doing some slight changes here. So if I click here and then edit that, so here if you see that there are additional settings available here. So if I say desired capacity is a 2, okay, save the changes, okay, and if I go here and then check that, okay, so now what I'm going to do here, so now I'm terminating this instance and check that what will happen. Terminate the instance. Now this instance is terminated, and if you see here, and so this instance, it will automatically launch another instances. If you see that, okay, so one more instance which is actually launching. So even though your application is terminated, or your EC2 instance is terminated, it will automatically maintain these many instances. So I can go ahead and then configure as many as instances, so as per my requirement, okay. So, and coming to this part, okay, add a policy. So in this policy, what I can do here, I can specify the policy, okay. That policy is something like, okay, create a scaling policy here. If I say scaling policy, okay, into that scaling policy, I can specify the alarms here. This will indicate that, okay, if average CPU utilization is greater than 40%, so I can say, okay, at least one entry, so I want to add it, okay, for checking every 1 minute, okay, for the demo purpose. And I'm not going to send any notification here, and then create an alarm. So here it will indicate that, okay, as soon as the utilization is very low and I want to add one more instance here, or if I specify 2 instances, if the CPU utilization is less than 40%, and the grace period is, if I say 15 seconds, okay, and create that. So this will indicate that, okay, if the CPU utilization is less than 40%, then it will automatically add 2 more instances to serve the purpose, okay. So, and here if you see that, okay, I have 2 instances which are running, okay. Here if I go to EC2 instance, run that, see, if you see that I have 2 instances which are running, and if I try to delete any one of the instance, okay, let's go ahead and then delete any one of the instance. If I terminate that, okay, next few seconds, it will automatically launch another instance. That means that, okay, whenever if there is any issue in my EC2 instance, if the EC2 instance is crashed, or maybe application is not reachable, then your auto scaling, which automatically takes care of launching the new instances in order to serve the purpose. At the same time, not only for crashing the application or crashing the EC2 instance, if the load is very high and your CPU utilization is very high, so based on your CPU utilization, we can also launch the new instance here. So we have configured, so if you see that, okay, we have configured the scaling policy here. If the CPU utilization is less than 40%, so I'm going to add add 2 more instances. So now I want to descale it. For doing that, okay, I can add one more policy here. Okay, so if I say descaling, and here I can specify that, so here average CPU utilization and the target value, and before doing that, I can go here and create an alarm. So here I can say, if average CPU utilization is less than 50% for every 1 minute, okay, I want to, one instance, I want to manually do something. Uh, what is that? So here I can specify that, okay. So descaling, whenever CPU utilization is less than or 50%, then I want to remove one instance, okay. So this is how I can create scaling policies, and based on these scaling policies, so we can work with EC2 instance. And here, if you see that, okay, so I have 2 instances which are already running. So based on the utilization, it will automatically delete the instance, and it will automatically add the additional instance for sharing the load. Here if you see that, so I have inside my group, okay, if you see that, okay, 4 instances are desired, so that's why there are 4 EC2 instances which are automatically launched here. So this is how we can manage auto scaling based on the requirement in terms of CPU utilization. So here, if you see that, okay, I have 4 instances which are running, and we come to end of this lab, and hopefully this lab give a chance to work in auto scaling, and I will see you in the next lab. Thank you so much for watching this video.